One more time here, folks, on the LA Sparks 365 Network, your 24/7, 365 comprehensive home for the WNBA and your two-time WNBA champion Los Angeles Sparks. Back at you guys here for the last of the night here on the two-man show of record that we love to call around here, the guys with the petition. We joined again, folks, by Chris Amanci from the Annenhart Studios up in Anaheim, California. Of course, a very congested, a very, very ill-feeling Callum McClure joining you here from Studio 121 in San Diego. All right, Chris, last time for the night, but of course, man, major news and updates about Sunday to get everyone even more fired up about the day. How's it going?
Not much, just waiting for Sunday.
Yeah, we are all sitting here and staring out our windows and waiting for Sunday to come, folks. With that, folks, again, we brought you folks we brought you TGWTP again, just to kind of clarify a few things and again update you on a few important scenarios about Sunday. Now, again, folks, as you all know, again, Sunday will be the first of what right now, folks, is going to be 4 upcoming LAS 365 host meeting grants. Again, folks, we are adding one more in the night before the Liberty game. We're going to be up there Tuesday and Wednesday, July 21st and July 22nd, when the Sparks take on both the Liberty and the Phoenix Mercury. More than likely, we'll be, I'm right now working on a little mini LA vacation up there on that Tuesday and Wednesday up to Los Angeles. Again, trying to work those out. So again, we could have a 4th event as well coming up as well. So again, a possible second one added in July, but right now we still have our main 3. But again, we could have a 4th one added as well. So again, there's the first of it. Now again, folks, more so about Sunday. Now again, folks, again, we have been telling you guys again about Sunday. Again, as you all know, again, we'll be out there as a unit. But again, folks, now you can really fully plan ahead for Sunday because now, folks, I do have some more details about Sunday. Now again, folks, we're planning to meet up at Magic Johnson statue between 12 and 12:30. Now, folks, here is your confirmed start time for Sunday. We'll be starting our event at 12:15 on Sunday. I will be leaving a baseball game at about 10 o'clock. So again, we'll be having our event, folks, at 12:15 p.m. on Sunday. Again, so there's your official start time for the event. We will, again, meet there, of course, and again, hang out until the doors open. So again, we'll be there from 12:15 to 1 o'clock. So again, folks, the start time again for the event and for the entire thing, again, folks, the meet and greet again, 12:15 to 1 o'clock p.m. again, because we'll be going inside, of course, to, again, at 1 o'clock when the doors do open. So again, to reiterate again, 12:15 start time for the meet and greet. Now, Chris, we know that you have a pretty hefty scenario with yourself, again, getting you up to Los Angeles. Again, we are. I know that you're working those out. So again, folks, 12:15 p.m. start time. It may start earlier if I get up to Los Angeles early enough, but again, 12:15 is our targeted time. So, Chris, now, man, that we have the time set, Chris, does it make things a bit easier for people to start planning themselves to come out to the event on Sunday now that we have a set time and date in place now for the event?
Yeah, I agree. It's just me, because the access, which is always a pain of stupid. You're going to LA with another LA access. So I got 2 accesses going on. So, yeah, getting for this.
So, again, folks, the set time and place, again, folks, 12:15 p.m. targeted start time. Again, and again, so 12:15 p.m. is our start time on Sunday for the event. And again, and please meet at the Magic Johnson statue, again, that is located at the Star Plaza entryway on Chickern Court, facing LA Live, and now Microsoft Square, or Microsoft Plaza, I should say. Again, so again, folks, 12:15 to 1 o'clock p.m. is the event. And again, we are planning still on trying to do something at halftime, like we're planning halftime and also a little bit of a post-game meet and greet goodbye almost. So again, we will, Chris and I will plan more of those out here. But again, we wanted to kind of update you folks on that snow. But again, folks, 12:15 to 1 o'clock p.m. is our slated start time and official start time. So again, 12:15 p.m. again is our start time. So Chris, now that we have that snafu taken care of, Chris, now, man, that you see me update the group photo all the time, because we've done a WNBA playoff style countdown. Again, folks, you need 7 wins to win the WNBA championship. There's also 7 days in a week. So, of course, Chris, in the last week leading up, Chris, we've had the numbers across the top changing every day from 7, 6, so on and so forth, Chris. When you see that group photo get updated, Chris, and you see it go from 4 to 3 and soon, Chris, to 2, does the blood pressure start to rise, man? Do you get nervous and anxious about Sunday, Chris? Or what goes on, I guess, when you see those numbers changing every other day you look?
Just very pumped up and ready, and just help also in our first game, just help bust it open.
And we kind of knew you'd say that, but again, Chris, folks, 3 days to go. So again, if you do not have any plans, again, come out and hang with us too. Again, we're going to be hanging out there, folks, at the LA Sparks home opener again, and of course, folks, as well, also confirmed today by LaRussa Kane on Facebook again, folks. Home opener on Sunday, but of course, folks, and also the first 5,000 fans. We got shirts last year. You'll take home a Sparks We Are LA hat this year. So again, first 5,000 fans through the Staples Center doors will take home those pretty nice looking We Are LA Sparks hats at the home opener on Sunday. So again, folks, to reiterate our entire game plan right now, again, first of 3, could be 4, LAS 365 Network host meet and greet nights. Again, will be held on Sunday, June 14th, this upcoming Sunday, 3 days away. Again, 12:15 p.m. to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, hang out with us too, and the entire Sparks fan base, again, folks, taking group mop shots. We are taking selfies with you guys. And, of course, Chris and I will break up the Sharpies. And, of course, we'll do a few autographs as well. And, of course, folks, and again, folks, remember, again, if you are in, again, folks, the group mob shot that we are taking, again, will be used on all of our social media platforms, again, which will be used on both our Sparks fan group on Facebook and, of course, the network Twitter handle as well. Now, Chris, as we had said, man, many times, that we had talked about this event so much, again, about, bringing this to the forefront. Chris, in your mind, man, we know that you're up there putting in more work than I am for this event, Chris. You're going, all poker chips are going in the middle, Chris. All poker chips are going forward, Chris. Business cards, man, you're doing it all up there, Chris. I mean, okay, we know that you're doing the business cards things right now, Chris. I'm working on a few things for us to have people to have a sign for people to give to them, Chris. I mean, as we get closer to Sunday, Chris, what else are you? I mean, what else do you have up your sleeve, man? I mean, I've heard business cards. I've heard of edits with the fan edits, I guess, Chris. What else are you thinking about doing, man? I mean, because you're like AJ Pillar of the Padres GM, Chris. You're going all in for just one game.
My first Spark game, just breaking an LL, and also John said about it's like too much ink, but apparently he wants me to do a group business cards too for the Sparks group.
So apparently we're going to be getting business cards. Chris is making edits of the fans. Apparently, I mean, I've heard a lot, folks, and he's putting all his poker chips in for one game, and I got to save a few because I do have 3 more games to go to this season. So we'll just leave that one alone. But again, folks, hang out with us 2 buffoons again on Sunday, June 14th. Again, Sparks 365 Network host meet and greet night or day, whatever you want to call it. Again, Sunday on the Sparks Day on the Seattle Storm at 2:00 p.m. And again, hang out with us. Hang out with the host, and of course, get involved with some photos. Again, we got we're going to be taking group mob shots, selfies, and again. Now, Chris, as I talk about, man, about working on photos. Now, Chris, we're working on things to sign. Chris, my country radio station did a event where they were giving away tickets and backstage passes to a country music concert, Chris, and they made up little cards to develop. So, Chris, what I'm going to be doing, man, I'm going to try to work this out on my printer here, Chris, is not like NX cards, Chris, but yeah, Chris, there's going to be a few mugshots of you on this photo paper here that will be made by me with a Hollywood film filter, and you'll be able to sign those for the fans. And of course, I'll have a few as well. So again, if I can get this to work on my big old Canon printer here, we can get that to work. But again, some of these will be also handed out as well on Sunday as well as will be handed out on Sunday as well. So we can have folks, we can sign. I guess, Chris, we can sign jerseys and hats and, be like athletes, but I guess I still want to do these, but if we want to be treated like pro announcers, or in your case, a so-called legend at Angel Stadium, I guess we could sign other gear, right? What do you think?
That, right?
Get her to try. So again, folks, if you if you got stuff to sign for us to sign, go ahead and we'll sign it for you guys. But again, once more, folks, again, LAS 365 host meet and greet day coming up ever so closely. I can, been looking forward to this, folks. Again, I was at the home opener last year, so that'll be fun. And of course, get to hang out with the great Sparks fan base and WNBA family as well on Sunday. Again, when the Sparks take on the Seattle Storm, again, game time set for 2 o'clock p.m. And again, folks, the start time, again, 12:15 p.m. to 1 o'clock will be our official event. Now, again, folks, we are still working on other things, on other things to do at halftime and also after the game ends. I'm sure we'll be stuck in the post-game autograph line, perhaps. So, again, we will work on more events, or more things to do, I should say, during the course of the actual game, again, during halftime and also afterwards as well. Again, folks, still trying to get over this cold. I'm about 95% there. So again, just I'm getting there, and I will be fully healthy on Sunday. So again, don't run away from me. I'll be perfectly fine on Sunday. So please don't do that, because you'll be missing out if you do run away from me, because I sound a bit sick. But again, that'll be again on Sunday when the Sparks take on the Seattle Storm. Now, Chris, other than the autographs, man, everything else included, as we get ready to move away from this topic and go on to a different topic, Chris, as we said, man, of course, your anticipation's building, of course, for this. I know mine kind of, sort of is. I know that it's not the same because number 3 won't be playing for the Sparks on Sunday, but of course, Chris, it's a trip to LA. It's a day off. It's a day off with me. It's, going with my dad, of course. That'll be fun. Chris, as night falls, as we get closer and closer, man, what is the mood like at your house during the course of the day as you, kind of impatiently wait for Sunday to get here?
Just all pumped up and excited, and just going crazy because he can't even get better. Because today on Instagram, the LA Sparks just saw my photo, so just can't even get any better. Just someone's playing my mind right now.
Yeah, Chris, there's probably a few things playing with both of our minds, Chris. As we know that two of my favorite players, Chris, Aaron Phillips and Jen Lacey, threw out the first pitch of the Dodgers game yesterday, which was of course good to see. They had a great time, of course, up there at the game, so of course that was fun for them to do that as well. But again, folks, last time before we move on to a different topic, but again, folks, Sunday, circle it on your calendar, folks. Get your tickets and come on out and hang with us too. Again, the LA Sparks, LAS 365 will be out in full force on Sunday at the Sparks home opener. So again, 12:15 to 1 o'clock p.m. again. But again, folks, a reminder again that start time could be moved up a bit, but if I get to Staples Center early enough. So again, folks, 12:15 to 1 o'clock p.m. is our official 365 M&G event. So again, come hang out with myself and Chris, and we will be sure. And again, folks, don't forget. But again, we will be having group mob shots, selfies, autographs on these things, perhaps, who knows. But again, folks, plenty more where that came from on Sunday. Now, Chris, sadly, man, moving away from your big day on Sunday to a personal story, Chris, that, of course, came to me yesterday. Now, again, folks, as you guys know very well, of course, we had played the video, the heartwarming video from the Phoenix Mercury on WNBA, on the W on last Friday, along with the on both the W and also on Sparks Fam. And everything was included in Chris. Of course, man, like I said, it was a great thing to see to see the WNBA and the Mercury, Chris, do that generous deed, of course, to Mia McPullen. Chris, as you guys may know or don't know, but again, Mia suffers from a very rare blood disorder, again, where her body only produces red blood cells, and she lives tirelessly off of the generous love and support of random strangers, again, that donate their blood at local blood drives. And again, again, Chris, a very, very, heartwarming story to talk about, Chris. I know that, like I said, Chris, on Instagram, you don't have to, love the sport of the, don't have to love the sport. Like I know 9 people out of 10 that I do meet don't give a crap about the sport, Chris. Or in your case, man, you don't have to like the team that's doing the event, Chris. But of course, man, to see a story like that, though, regardless of who you're cheering for, Chris, you have to, open your heart and really, applaud and really, shed a tear, Chris, of, Chris, something that probably Mia was not really wanting. Chris, I recall plain as day when the San Diego Sockers, Chris, one of the 6 teams I cover, Chris, but I won't be there next year, man, when they brought Evan Mundine out to 2 games, Chris, where they actually let him play in a game, Chris. We know that he battles, many, many physical diseases, Chris, that they brought him out, Chris, let him play in a game. They let him score, for heaven's sakes, Chris, and they paid him $2,000 to play in the game, Chris. Those, as I said, Chris, those are the stories, man, that, not only warm my heart, Chris, as a fan and sports announcer, man, but also, Chris, really puts in perspective, man, of, what life is all about, Chris. And, we have so many people, sadly, Chris, that can't live up to their full potential, whether it's, a physical or mental disorder, man, that they, don't get the chance to play sports, Chris. When you saw the video, Chris, you saw me post it, man, and I know that the Mercury is, on your bad list of teams and across your sporting leagues, Chris, but, what were your thoughts, man, about seeing, not only, Chris, the Mercury, but the entire league, Chris, treating me almost like a player, man, with the championship ring? Because I know, man, Evan Mundine told me repeatedly, man, that he didn't feel like he deserved to play in those 2 games he did with the Sockers, Chris. But what do you think, though, about that entire story, though? Because, I mean, Chris, it's definitely one that I'm going to be talking about for a while. What do you think?
Just very emotional and just very great story about Mia.
Now, Chris, I took the story a bit further. Now, as you guys may know, I wrote a recap story on calamac.wix.com/Calamac after Evan Mundine's night at the Sox game. Now, again, Evan, folks, is a 17-year-old kid who lives in Texas, and he's battled many, many diseases, from Crohn's to diseases that affect his skeletal system, many, many physical setbacks that did not allow him to continue to pursue soccer after age 8, and he fell in love with a player that he met at a Houston Dynamo match many years ago, who's now playing with the Sockers, and Brian Farber. And, it's a great story, folks. I encourage you to read the story on my site if you want to. And, of course, Chris, the other block story, of course, for the person on the far right over here, Chris, Jessica Scorza, of course, meeting her at the first game I went to, a Point Loma Nazarene, Chris. And, above all, Chris, the same night I go there, I get a job for baseball. And, of course, becoming good friends with her over social media. And, of course, in person, I'll be seeing her next weekend back at PLNU for a basketball camp she's hosting. And of course, Chris, with this story, Chris, with this young girl, Chris, I wrote my own recap, Chris, and I sent it off to both Mia's family, of course, Chris, my other friend, Jessica, who operates the DT Bun page on Twitter, the Mercury, Chris, and one of my great friends, Ben York, who's the site manager for both the Suns and the Mercury, Chris. And Chris, I wrote a great story, like I normally do, man. I'm sure you read them. Sometimes I'm sure you don't, because I'm sure you're jealous of how far it's got me with, follows from players on Twitter and social media hype, Chris. But, this one, Chris, was so fun for me to write, because like I said, Chris, flat out, man, I'm pretty sure, man, that 99% of people would question me as just saying, you're a Sparks fan, you cover the team, so why in the world are you covering the Mercury's home opener when they're the franchise's biggest rival? So why are you doing this? Chris, you put the rivalry, you put your fanhood, like you should on the network sometimes, Chris, you put your fanhood and your bias out the window, because, something like this, man, does not happen every day in the sports world, where you can, have a great story like this, Chris, and about, man, giving someone like this, Chris, who I'm sure, man, was saying, I don't deserve this, but they went out of their way, man, to feel like she was a member of the team in a very small capacity, and to give her actual ring. So I'm sure a lot of people were saying that. But again, Chris, there is nothing that I can really say about how tremendous this was. I mean, I know I've seen it plenty of times with other stories, with these Make-A-Wish kids that, again, it's a great thing that these charities are out there, to do these, events, and to have the Mercury, Chris, bring Mia on their coaching staff, towards the end of the season and all throughout the playoffs, man, that she was able to go to the games and be with the team and, of course, hang out with the players and, of course, go to their practices, man. Very, very great to see. And I'll tell you what, Chris, I'm sure that there's probably not going to be another story. I'm sure there will be, Chris, sometime soon. But, again, I don't know if we'll see it, though, Chris, at the WNBA level anytime soon. So I guess, man, overall thoughts about just the entire scenario, Chris. Again, a young girl, again, big sports fan. And again, a very rare disease, illness that, again, affects her bloodstream, Chris. And again, for a pro franchise, Chris, I know, man, that we see it a lot with football players that they'll, play catch with the kid or whatever. But Chris, in this case, man, the coaching, on the coaching staff, a part of Sandy Brondello's staff with Julie Haregrove and Todd Trox, man, being a part of the staff, coming to, going to the practice, Chris, and all the stuff we saw, man, in your mind, Chris, does that give you a sense of hope, though, that these people like me that do donate blood or vital organs, Chris, that we do make a difference in, Chris, in my words, Chris, that they're being the X factor in someone's life, that they are doing a life-saving and life-changing thing in their life? What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're saving a life.
Again, folks, to reiterate again, so back on Friday, of course, the Mercury had their 2014 banner unfurled at U.S. Airways Center / Talking Stick Resort Arena, whatever it's going to be called. Again, I have no idea what it is. But again, folks, a very special part of the ring ceremony, of course, WNBA President Laurel J. Ritchie giving Mia her own 2014 WNBA championship ring, which, of course, probably, Chris, like I wrote in my story, being able to see Mia's reaction, with her kissing the ring and, putting it around her neck. I'm sure, Chris, that's probably the first time in who knows how long, Chris, that she was probably the most relaxed. Because I'm sure, Chris, with what she goes through every 3 weeks, Chris, again, getting blood transfusions, IVs and drawing blood, getting blood put in, Chris, that after all those transfusions, all those doctor's visits, Chris, that last week was probably the first time in who knows how long, man, she finally had a chance to really relax and be herself. Do you agree, man?
Yeah, agreed.
Chris, why does everyone need to follow me? I already know I'm the GOAT, man. You don't need to reiterate, Chris. And yes, Chris, I'm the GOAT, too, because I do have 3 rings, just like Diana Taurasi. That also makes me the GOAT as well, folks. But again, if you want to, following on Twitter at Calimac3. So again, go ahead and do that. But again, Chris, in closing here with this story, folks, in my opinion, Mia's story gives me a sense of hope. Not because I'm a blood donor, folks, but it gives me a sense of hope that people like me and the other people that do donate their blood or vital organs to someone in need, not only does it make me smile from ear to ear to know that with each tube of blood or vital organ we donate, we pay an amazing price to save someone else's life. Plus, it's a person, folks, who at first is a complete stranger. You never met them in person. Then later, they become your best friend. And again, folks, I wrote this too, and I'm sure, but again, Mia McPolin, again, please remember that we are always with you. We always will be praying for you, and that the entire WNBA family, Chris included, that all 12 teams, the leagues, all 12 teams, the players and fans of every team, we are always with you. And again, folks, like I said, even though I do cover the Sparks, I do root for the Sparks as my WNBA franchise. But again, folks, in this case, it's true, folks. And again, these are 10 words you need to kind of get put in your head because it's going to be used whenever I do share stuff from her on Twitter and Facebook. But again, folks, donate blood. You could be the X factor in someone else's life. And again, as I said, Chris, glory is yours, Mia. Now, Chris, that went a bit step further, Chris. Now, as I know that I had sent it, Chris, and Chris, the best part of my day yesterday was not the concert I went to, Chris, that you sadly were bugging me. I told you to please leave me alone because it was a day with my dad and it was an off day on my calendar, Chris. But the highlight, though, Chris, of the whole day was not the concert, but it was the fact, Chris, that Mia and her family read the story, Chris, and got back to me on Twitter and said, Chris, they told me here on Twitter, they said, "What a great blog post! Thank you," with the sad face and crying emoji, Chris. Ben York got back to me saying, great stuff here. Jess got back to me saying, this is terrific, Chris. So, of course, Chris, it's just another case, Chris, of the GOAT over here making either an athlete, Chris, or in this case, Chris, a very young, Chris, a very inspiring, very uplifting and inspiring person, Chris, making her day, Chris, because Chris, I should mention, Chris, yesterday, folks, and also, folks, Mia had her 126th blood donation and transfusion yesterday. So, Chris, that is the most important thing, Chris, was not only was my story about her, but, of course, Chris, it was a way for her, though, to keep her mind off of having another blood transfusion done, Chris. So I guess, man, to further pad my stats for the day, Chris, how awesome was it, though, Chris, for you to see that the people I mentioned, Chris, from Mia to Jess to Ben to the Mercury, Chris, even the team, Chris, they all read the story, helped share it, and, of course, Chris, hearing Mia get back to me, though, with her great uplifting reaction.
Just very awesome.
And again, Chris, like I say a lot, man, this is a case, man, where, the fanhood, Chris, for one day, Chris, the blood, the purple and golden here, Chris, and the veins here goes to purple and orange for one day, Chris, because of what both the team, Chris, and the Mercury all did for this tremendous, inspiring, uplifting young lady. Again, folks, I invite you, folks, again, if you really want to make a difference in someone's life, Chris, folks, I would recommend it. Not to Chris because he does faint when he does see blood. But again, I would recommend, folks, if you do have blood drives in your area, folks, please help the cause out for people like me that do rely heavily on people like myself that do donate their blood or their vital organs, folks. Again, please help the cause out. Please be the match for me to get to help her cure both rare bone marrow problem, and of course also help out the cause too. Again, folks, please donate blood because again, you could be the X factor in someone's life. And I know I've done that a few times, Chris. I know, man, that if you didn't have your phobia or fear of blood, Chris, that you would totally donate. I will be definitely, Chris, when the Chargers have their blood drive coming up soon, I'll be going back again to do my cause. Chris, I've been involved with blood drives throughout high school. I did it all 4 years when I was there. I haven't done one lately, but of course, Chris, again, Chris, it's a bigger story, Chris, than sports in this case. We're about, Chris, we're talking about saving someone's life. And again, Chris, like I said, donating blood, vital organs, whatever it may be, Chris, for whatever it may be, Chris, to know that whenever they do tap my arm here and they do draw a tube of my blood out, I know, Chris, it's going to a good cause. And Chris, I've been wondering aloud about when I do go to Phoenix next month for a little road trip, Chris, about stopping at a blood bank and definitely donating and making sure that blood goes to Mia, Chris, because I think that's the last deed I can really do to really, not only, Chris, continue to almost, speak for blood donations, Chris, but also, man, in regards, though, to what her story really speaks, Chris. I mean, I don't know how much longer I can go on this, Chris, but Chris, going forward, Chris, what do you think, though, going forward about the future, though, that we've, of all these people, Chris, myself included, Chris, what can you really say, Chris, about these people that are so giving of their time, Chris, to, let a doctor, either, draw blood or, and sometimes, Chris, rip open their stomach and take out a couple organs to save someone else's life, Chris? How important is it, though, Chris, that there are people that are that outgoing and that generous to give up something from themselves to someone else to save their life?
Just good. See, draw blood and to save someone's life.
Well, folks, with that, we will draw to a good conclusion here tonight on LAS 365. We, again, folks, thank you guys very much for tuning in and joining us again, folks. Sunday, the big day out at Staples Center again, the first of what could be 4, maybe even 5, if I do go to a game in Phoenix, folks. LAS 365 will be out in full force from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock on Sunday at the Sparks Home Opener. So, again, come hang with Callan and Chris on Sunday at Staples Center in downtown LA. Chris, we get ready to wrap up for the night, man. Your last thoughts about Sunday and my great blog story are what?
Just can't wait for Sunday. My first ever. I'm just
Again, folks, the big day out, Sparks home opener for LAS 365. Again, that'll be on Sunday at 2 in the afternoon. With that, folks, we will call it a night. We'll see you folks back here on Saturday to recap a few of the games and get even more fired up for Sunday here on LAS 365. We'll see you folks back here on Saturday. Until Saturday night, have a safe night. Drive home safely. Thank you all for coming and joining us. And good night now. This has been the LA Sparks 365 Network. We are Sparks. We are LA. We're over at WMV. We'll see you folks back here on Saturday. And, of course, we'll see you on Sunday at Staples Center in downtown LA. For Chris Mancini, Anaheim, Bat, the GOAT down here in San Diego, signing off for the night. We'll see you folks back here on Saturday. Good night. Bye-bye.